It's a rare opportunity for priests to step away from their parishes and administrative responsibilities for 3 days. But that's what took place this past week as more than 100 priests in the Diocese of Springfield did just that, gathering in Westford, Massachusetts for the Cultivating Unity Priest Convocation. This was the first such priest convocation in many years, requiring parishes to suspend daily masses and funerals on Thursday and Friday. And for the first time, religious order priests serving in the diocese were invited to attend. This gathering was the culmination of years of planning, working with the nationally acclaimed Center for Applied Research on the Apostolate out of Georgetown University, better known as CARA. And the focus of the gathering was the clergy report on the state of the presbyterate in the Diocese of Springfield, compiled from priest survey, feedback from 2 listening sessions, as well as input from Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky. Kathy Harrington attended and filed this report.
For 3 days this week, there was an eerie absence in the Diocese of Springfield. Communion services were offered to Catholics as masses were suspended. The reason? Most of the priests were away, taking part in a series of meetings with the bishop.
An awful lot of work went into preparing for this convocation. It was a year-long process, and it's a daily work, meaning you have to work every day to make sure every detail is taken care of.
Following an extensive survey of priests in the Diocese of Springfield, 97 active, retired, and religious priests were in Westford for a series of unity-building meetings.
I appreciate that we're able to come together like this to process so many of our thoughts about ministry and reaching out in preaching the gospel and in supporting one another in doing so.
The Center for Applied Research in the Apostolate at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., conducted the survey. On Wednesday, away from the demands of their parishes, the priests reviewed the results and the compilation of comments from 2 listening sessions, as well as an interview with Bishop Rosansky.
Even though I've been through the process before, this is really a whole new process because it's a whole different group and a whole different diocese and a different role for myself.
The final report was available online to the presbyterate in advance.
I don't think one should be surprised that there are many different personalities in our priesthood. There are different ideologies, theologies, spiritualities. People come from different backgrounds. We have young priests, we have middle-aged priests, we have older priests. So it's no surprise that when we put the mix together that we're going to get a very exciting portrait of the presbyter of the Diocese of Springfield.
That means there will always be challenges in the area of unity, says Father Savage. Father Stephen Fichter, one of the CARA facilitators for the convocation, agrees.
The reality of the priesthood today, just like the reality of our church today, that there are divisions, there are ideological, generational differences. Nowadays we have the older priests tend to be the more progressive priests from Vatican II era. The younger priests tend to be the more conservative priests from the John Paul II era, so to speak. And at times we can be, missing each other and not understanding each other.
The Cultivating Unity Convocation is more than the 3 days away from the diocese. It's a time for prayer, an opportunity to open the lines of communication, to build relationships and support among the presbyterate.
Father Fichter says this type of gathering speaks to the heart of the priesthood, the brotherhood of priests. Included in the program, 3 men of differing ages were asked to share their personal experiences as priests.
The whole point of this convocation was to engage everyone in that dialogue and to recognize that as priests we have so much more in common than what divides us.
Father Tom Shea was one of the priests asked to share. Ordained in 1966, he was first assigned to St. Joseph Parish in Pittsfield, where he was the youngest of 5 priests. Now retired, Father Shea remains very active within the diocese.
I talked about how priests had helped me in their life by their kindness, and how I pointed out, they were talking about unity, and I pointed out the rite of ordination is a part of it where all the priests stand around the bishop, and I thought that's just a powerful statement of priest and priest unity.
Gathering for evening prayer and a celebration of the priesthood Mass, the men were transformed from the relaxed posture of the day's meetings to the true brotherhood of priests. The first reading from Galatians was about life in the community of Christ. In his homily, Bishop Rosansky recalled Francis of Assisi hearing God tell him to rebuild his church.
Francis, perhaps in our human judgment, did not hear correctly that message the first time, rebuild my church, although he thought he was doing the right thing, what the Lord had commanded. But the hope that was given to him, and it's given to each one of us, is that we are entrusted to rebuild God's church time and time again in each and every generation.
The call to rebuild God's church, a timely message for the state of the Catholic Church. This Mass serves as a poignant reminder that God called these men to the priesthood. Leaving Mass in communion with the Father and each other, there is more work to be done. During these meetings, the priest focused on the top priority areas and how to develop action plans.
So I think what you could hope for is a more unified presbyterate, which I think will be a happier, healthier, and holier presbyterate. And then I think what the lay people from the diocese could expect is happier, healthier, holier priests that are, more united among themselves and more united with the bishop and his vision and his mission for the diocese.
I think our people will feel that they're being cared for, not just by a single priest, but by the entire presbyterate of the Diocese of Springfield.
And unified, priests can teach and preach and celebrate the sacraments and serve the needs of the poor, because that is the mission of the Church. For Real to Real, I'm Kathy Harrington.
And the priests have identified the top priority issues and have created guidelines for taking actions. So the work of this convocation will continue to unfold over the coming months.